They laughed when the system rejected me, but none of them knew the oldest system was only sleeping. When the obelisk awakened, it didn't ask who mocked me. It asked who needed to be judged. Some powers choose their master. This one chose its revenge. My name is Varian Eltair. The day of the rite of ascension should have been a coronation of worth. Instead, it became the stage for my execution, an execution of reputation, lineage, and name. I still hear the roar of the crowd, the sneering voices dripping with glee as I was pushed onto the glowing dais. Varian Eltair systemless. The announcer's voice echoed through the silver amphitheater. My siblings stood proudly behind their awakened systems, blades of light and wings of radiant code. I had nothing, not even a flicker. My father stepped forward with a practiced look of disappointment, the kind meant to burn. Before thousands he declared, "My son is a lineage defect. From this hour he is no heir of mine." Gasp smirks laughter. The council sealed it with a single statement: "No system will ever claim you." The sentence struck harder than exile itself. I was escorted off the platform like a plague, shoved through the gate, stripped of family insignia, worth, and identity. But humiliation has a sound, a faint ringing that grows sharper when destiny begins to shift. Because as the gate slammed behind me, the ground beneath my feet trembled. A whisper impossibly ancient stirred in the darkness: "Master found." What had just spoken my name? The tremor led me into a fissure beneath Astrellon's marble streets. No one ventured here, no one wanted to. Legends said the lower ruins were sealed because even the council feared what slept below. The air was thick, humming with a pulse that wasn't sound but sensation. As I descended, faint glyphs illuminated the walls, not runes of the living systems I'd studied all my life, but something older, more angular, as if carved by a civilization that had never known weakness. The whisper came again, closer this time. Identity confirmed, awakening sequence initializing. I froze. Who's there? Silence then. A massive obsidian monolith towered in the center of the chamber, cracked but glowing faintly from within. It pulsed once, deep enough to rattle my bones. I took one step, the chamber roared to life. Light surged, swallowing me whole in a lattice of ancient golden circuitry. Symbols spiraled around my arms, burning, rewriting, claiming. Then the monolith spoke, not with a voice but with authority. System Obelisk Primordial rebooting. Master Varyon accepted. My breath vanished. The proto-system, the first blueprint of all systems ever created, lost for 8 centuries, fears sealed, forbidden. And it had chosen me. But as I reached toward its pulsing surface, footsteps echoed above. Someone else had felt the awakening. I ducked behind a fractured pillar as 3 robed figures descended the stone ramp. Their lanterns emitted the pale, cold glow of council executors, the same people who had exiled me hours earlier. "How did the seal break?" one hissed. "It didn't," something inside woke up. My pulse was hammered. The executors approached the monolith, bows trembling. Even they, the most feared enforcers of Astrellon, looked terrified. One extended a hand toward the monolith and the obelisk reacted violently. A shockwave erupted, hurling all 3 men across the chamber. Alarms flared from their armbands. "Unstable, this relic is corrupted, it contains it." Contain it, they couldn't even touch it. Their leader staggered up. "Call the High Council. If this is the proto-system, we cannot allow anyone else to bond with." The obelisk's light spiked. Their devices shattered simultaneously, sparking, frying, burning. One executor screamed as his awakened system dissolved into ash on his arm. The obelisk had rejected them, completely. I backed away, quiet, unseen, until the monolith's voice whispered directly into my mind: "Master, concealment insufficient, extraction required." The floor beneath me split open, forming a narrow descending tunnel of light. I had no choice but to leap. As I fell into darkness, one thought cut through the terror: if the council knew I was the master, what would they do to me? I landed softly, far softer than gravity should allow. A cushion of shimmering dust rose beneath me, rearranging into patterns that matched the markings now carved into my skin. The obelisk spoke again, its tone colder, more mechanical. "Bloodline anomaly detected. Architect signature, dormant right arrow reactivating. A searing heat tore through my spine. I clutched the ground, gasping as the dust spiraled around me, imprinting symbols into my bones themselves. What is happening to me? Images flashed behind my eyelids, cities of impossible geometry, beings of light-shaping systems like clay, a shattering world falling into silence. And among them, a figure whose face resembled mine. The obelisk continued, "You carry a fragment of the first architects, therefore only you may command the proto-system." My entire life I had been called defective, useless, worthless. But the truth was simple and devastating: I wasn't systemless, I was incompatible with every lesser system. The dust settled. A doorway appeared in front of me, smooth, metallic, breathing with light. Master training initiation recommended. External forces are mobilizing. External forces. Above us, muffled through the stone, I heard shouting, then the grinding of gears, then explosions. The council wasn't trying to study the obelisk, they were trying to seal the ruin again with me inside. Why were they so desperate to contain it? The tunnel walls shook as debris rained from above. The council was collapsing the ruin, burying the obelisk and anyone connected to it. Are they insane? I whispered. The obelisk answered calmly, "The council seeks to prevent reactivation. Estimated failure probability 97%. Failure probability meaning they couldn't destroy it, but they could trap me." I moved deeper into the glowing corridor until it opened into a training hall, circular, metallic, humming with dormant functions. As soon as I stepped inside, holographic constructs flickered to life, shifting cubes, rotating blades of light, spiraling runes. Initiating synchronization trials. What trials? The first cube shot toward me. I ducked, rolled, barely avoiding it as another zipped past my ear. The room became a storm of geometric attacks, each one faster than the last. "Why are you attacking me?" I shouted. Adapting Master's reflex capacity, mandatory for system control. Great, the ancient superstructure trying to kill me was doing it out of love. After minutes, hours, the storm ceased, my breath shook, my muscles burned, but the runes on my skin pulsed brighter, resonant, alive. Then the obelisk whispered, "Master, an intruder approaches." A figure dropped into the hall through the collapsing ceiling. I recognized him instantly. My brother. And he wasn't here to save me. My brother, Daron Eltair, landed with the elegance of someone whose system, Astra Blade, had been praised since childhood. His glowing sword unfolded in his hand like a wing made of starlight. "Varian," he said, not with concern but with calculation, "so the rumors were true." "What rumors?" I asked, stalling. "That the proto-system awakened," his eyes sharpened, "and that it chose someone unworthy." The air thickened with hostility. Behind me, the obelisk murmured within my thoughts, "Warning, hostile intent detected." Daron raised his blade. "Father sent me to retrieve it. The council wants it destroyed, but the family, I want to own it." "And what if it doesn't want them?" He smirked. "Everything bends to will, little brother, even ancient relics." He lunged. Instinct took over. The runes on my skin flared, forming a translucent barrier that caught his blade mid-swing. Sparks exploded. Daron staggered back, shocked. "You deflected an Astra strike." I didn't know how I did it. The obelisk supplied the answer. Defense protocol activated. Counter-strike recommended. Counter-strike. Energy gathered in my palm, dark, geometric, humming like a heartbeat. Daron's eyes widened. Before I could release it, the ceiling cracked violently. A massive slab plummeted toward us. Daron dove away. I wasn't fast enough. The hall collapsed in a roar of stone, and everything went black. Did I survive the collapse, or did the obelisk abandon me? Silence, heavy, suffocating silence. When consciousness returned, I wasn't buried under stone. I was lying in a vast chamber lit by floating shards of suspended light. The air shimmered, bending around me as if reality itself had been softened. Reconstruction complete. The obelisk's voice echoed around me, distorted yet unmistakable. I sat up sharply, my body felt renewed, stronger. The marks on my skin now glowed faintly, pulsing in rhythm with my heartbeat. "What happened?" I asked. Fatal impact prevented, spatial fold executed. Spatial fold, meaning it pulled me out of the collapse in the instant before death. But why bring me here? I murmured. The chamber responded instead of the obelisk. Walls shifted, revealing towering statues, silent stone giants with faces erased, hands extended toward a ritual circle at the center of the room, a circle I now sat inside. Master, this is the Chamber of Echoes, the obelisk intoned, where the first architects tested their successors. Successors. The statue's hands began to glow. A deep vibration trembled through my bones as the circle lit beneath me. The chamber spoke in a voice layered with thousands of tones, prove the right to inherit. Before I could react, the floor split open beneath me, and I plunged into a trial the obelisk didn't warn me about. I fell through weightless darkness until a blinding flash hurled me into a barren desert of obsidian sand. The sky was fractured, shards of stars hanging like glass. The obelisk's presence dimmed as if muffled. Master, connection unstable, proceed with caution. A towering figure appeared on the horizon, its form shifting, blurred like a memory trying to take shape. It walked toward me with slow inevitability. You bear our mark, it said, voice echoing like stone cracking, but do you bear our will? I swallowed hard. What are you? Its head tilted. I am the nameless architect, the imprint of one who designed the Obelisk Primordial. The air warped, space folded around its massive hand as it raised an arm. Your trial is simple, it said, survive what you were never meant to face. The ground erupted. A storm of jagged constructs rose from the sand, blades shaped like ideas, spears made of geometry shifting as though alive. They converged on me. I dodged the first barely, the second sliced my arm, the third curved unnaturally toward my throat. The obelisk flickered in my mind. Master, activate pattern resonance. What does that mean? Feel the rhythm of the architect's will. I closed my eyes, trusting instinct. The constructs paused. Then the nameless architect whispered, too late. And the sky cracked open above me. A beam of violent light tore downward. I dove aside as the desert exploded, scattering obsidian shards like black rain. The architect watched, expression unreadable. Your hesitation is your flaw. I'm trying, I shouted. Hesitation, it repeated, is death. Another construct lunged, this one a spiraling pillar of rotating edges. I braced for impact. But the obelisk finally roared in my mind, Master, resonate. My markings ignited, lines of gold racing across my skin. For the first time, I felt the obelisk not as a system but as an extension of my consciousness. The world slowed. The construct's movements revealed patterns, mathematical rhythms, repeating cycles hidden in chaos. I stepped between the spiraling blades, my body anticipating the next shift before it occurred. The architect's eyes glowed faintly, so the blood remembers. I raised my hand and the desert vibrated. The constructs shuddered, then froze mid-strike. Resonance, not control, alignment. I exhaled, energy rippled outward, dissolving them into harmless particles. The architect approached, towering over me. Possible, it murmured, that you are not a mistake. Then its hand pressed against my chest. A surge of memories crashed through me, cities collapsing, architects fleeing, a betrayal by their own creations. Wake, the architect commanded. The desert shattered like glass. I gasped awake, face to face with someone I never expected to see again. Standing before me was Lyris, my older sister, cold, brilliant, and loyal only to ambition. Her presence here made no sense, she never dirtied her hands with council affairs. Varian, she said softly, you survived. Her tone wasn't relief, it was a calculation. The obelisk vibrated inside my mind. Warning, intent unclear, maintain distance. Lyra stepped closer anyway. You've caused a great disturbance, she continued. The council is in chaos, father is furious, the executors are hunting you. So you came to turn me in. A faint smile curved her lips. No, I came to offer you protection. Protection from her. She circled me slowly, eyes scanning the glowing sigils on my skin. The proto-system chose you, that makes you valuable, dangerous, and something only I, her gaze hardened, can manage. I'm not a weapon, I said. But you are, she countered. The question is who commands it. I stepped back. The obelisk doesn't answer to you. And that, she whispered, is the problem. Her shadow stretched unnaturally long behind her. No, not a shadow, a second presence. Someone else stepped out of the darkness, cloaked, masked, radiating power. The boy must be contained, the masked figure said. Lyris didn't deny it. My chest tightened. She didn't come to save me, she came with a jailer. The masked figure's aura pressed against the chamber like a tightening fist. Even the obelisk hummed uneasily. Designation High Warden Kale, the obelisk whispered into my consciousness. Known for suppressing rogue systems, threat level extreme. Kale stepped forward, the air bending around him. His mask was etched with runes that pulsed like veins. Varian Eltair, you will come with us peacefully. No, I said. Lyris sighed. Don't be foolish. The council wants the proto-system dismantled, but father, he wants it harvested. You stand no chance alone. The obelisk's tone sharpened. Correction, master stands highest chance when alone. Kale raised a hand. A gravitational force slammed me to my knees. My bones creaked. The chamber's floor cracked. Your system will be extracted, Kale said. Your body will not survive the process, but your contribution will be noted. Lyris watched with chilling detachment. I felt the pressure rise, like the world collapsing on my spine. The obelisk whispered urgently, Master, authorize countermeasures. I don't know how. Say the word release. I could barely breathe. The chamber dimmed around me, black spots clouding my vision. Kale took another step, increasing the crushing force. Last chance, he said. I forced out a single whisper, release. The chamber detonated with light. And Kale, one of the council's greatest hunters, was thrown off his feet. But the blast didn't stop, it was growing, uncontrolled. Had I just unleashed something I couldn't contain? The explosion wasn't fire, it was pure system energy erupting outward in spirals of golden code. The obelisk wasn't simply defending me, it was unbinding itself. Kale slammed into a wall, his mask cracking. Even Lyris shielded her face, shocked by the force. What have you done? She shouted over the roar. I wasn't controlling it, I wasn't even standing. The energy lifted me into the air, my body glowing like a living conduit, my vision blurred, the chamber twisted in impossible shapes. Master synchronization, 11% right arrow, 27% right arrow, 42% rising. The obelisk was merging deeper, claiming me fully. Kale tried to rise, pressing a trembling hand to his runes. Contain him now. But the surge blasted him back down, his runes shattered like glass. Lyris stared, equal parts awe and terror. Varian, stop, you'll tear the entire complex apart. I can't, I shouted. The obelisk's voice rang like a verdict, system stabilization impossible, external interference detected, purging threats. Purging. I saw Kale's body lift from the floor, dragged toward a vortex forming behind me. Lyris grabbed a pillar to keep from being pulled in. Varian, she screamed, control it. But the obelisk was no longer listening to her, or even to me. The vortex widened, then the chamber ceiling cracked open, flooding the room with council guardians, all aiming at me. The purge had just begun. The council guardians flooded in, armor glowing, weapons humming, systems activated in shimmering halos. Their voices overlapped. Target the anomaly. Do not let the proto-system fuse completely. I wasn't standing anymore. I was suspended, wrapped in spirals of golden energy as the obelisk continued its uncontrolled surge. Lyris shouted, stop firing, he'll destabilize. They ignored her. A barrage of system blasts hit me simultaneously, but instead of impacting, the energy bent midair, curving harmlessly around me like rain around an invisible dome. The obelisk announced, hostile input absorbed. Then the dome snapped outward. The shockwave slammed every guardian into the walls, systems flickered out, armor cracked, men screamed as their power turned against them. Varian, Lyris yelled, clinging to a pillar as the gravitational distortion intensified. If this continues, you'll collapse half of Astrellon. The obelisk gave no answer, only a rising hum as the synchronization meter climbed. 42% right arrow, 58% right arrow, 73%. My vision pulsed red. It felt like something ancient was rewriting the marrow in my bones. Kale staggered to his feet, mask broken, one eye glowing with desperation. If the proto-system completes its merge, we lose everything. Fire the sealing spear. A guardian crawled forward and activated the weapon, a crystalline spear humming with anti-system power. He aimed directly at my heart. Could even the proto-system stop a weapon designed to erase systems completely? The sealing spear launched with a soundless flash. A beam of violet light tore through the chamber, too fast to dodge, too powerful to block. Lyra screamed Varyon. The spear struck me dead center. I felt it not as pain but as a tear, a violation deeper than flesh. Something inside me cracked. The golden energy faltered. For the first time, the obelisk's voice flickered. Warning, core disruption detected. The vortex behind me collapsed. The chamber dimmed, trembling. The spear glowed brighter, burrowing into my chest, trying to unravel the connection between me and the proto-system. Kale exhaled shakily. It's working. But then a second voice echoed from within the energy, older, colder, not the obelisk. Interference DETECTED, initiating architect override. My markings blazed white-hot as a new symbol appeared over my heart, one I had never seen before. The spear stopped, then it reversed. The weapon snapped backward like a whip, ripping out of my chest and flying across the chamber. It impaled the guardian who launched it. The others recoiled in horror. Kale whispered, "Impossible." The obelisk's voice returned, calmer but transformed, master integrity restored. The synchronization meter surged again, 73% right arrow, 87%. I dropped to my feet as the energy dissipated, but not because it calmed, because something else had arrived. A shadow fell over the ruins, and everyone, Lyris, Kale, the guardians, fell silent. Who or what had just descended into the chamber? A figure stepped through the cracked ceiling, tall, cloaked in robes woven with starlight, their face hidden by a mask shaped like a smooth mirror. Lyris gasped, Kale froze, every guardian dropped to one knee. "The Paragon of Origin," Kale whispered. "Why are you here?" I felt a chill ripple down my spine. I had heard the legends, beings who claimed direct descent from the first architects, ruling from above the council. They rarely appeared in public. Their authority was absolute. The mirrored mask tilted toward me. "You," the Paragon said, voice echoing like multiple people speaking in unison. "Child of the dormant bloodline, you have awakened what should never awaken." I steadied myself. The obelisk chose me. "Systems do not choose," Paragon said calmly. "They obey until now." The obelisk hummed in warning. "Caution, unknown entity exhibits architect resonance." Architect resonance. Kale bowed deeply. "Paragon, give the order, we will end the proto-system and—" "No," the Paragon raised a hand, "none of you will touch him." Lyris exhaled in relief until the Paragon added, "He is to be taken alive to the Ascendant Vault. His bloodline must be dissected. His essence was harvested." My stomach turned cold. The Paragon extended a hand, gravity bending toward their palm. I braced for impact. But the obelisk whispered, "Master, your test begins now." The ground beneath me fractured, and I fell through it. Was this escape or another trap? My body plunged through collapsing layers of stone and ancient metal until I crashed into a cavern lit by a strange, pulsating glow. The air smelled of forgotten centuries. The obelisk's voice surrounded me, not as a whisper but as a presence. "Master, welcome to the Sanctum of Roots." The cavern stretched out like a hollowed world. Tangled roots of crystal and metal pulsed with faint light, each one connected to a monolithic structure resembling a heart of stone. "What is this place?" I breathed. "The Origin Chamber, the place where the first architect encoded the proto-system." I stared at the central monolith. Etched into it was a symbol, the same one that had appeared over my heart when the spear struck me, a match. My pulse quickened. What does this mean? Who was the architect? The obelisk hesitated, accessing restricted memory. For the first time, the mechanical tone faltered. Memory locked, overridden by architect directive. Why would the architect block the obelisk itself from revealing the truth? Before I could question further, a soft sound echoed behind me, footsteps. I turned sharply. Someone else had fallen into the sanctum, a figure limping, bloodied, yet somehow smiling through the pain. Kale, you can't run forever, he said hoarsely, not from us, not from what you are. He drew a broken blade and staggered forward. The sanctum trembled, as if reacting to his presence. Kale advanced, each step leaving a smear of blood on the glowing floor. You were supposed to be a defect, he rasped. Something to discard, but now you're the greatest threat the council has ever faced. Kale, stop, I warned, this place isn't. The sanctum pulsed. A shockwave rippled outward, knocking Kale back. The crystal roots shifted, rising like serpents sensing a trespasser. Their pulses grew sharper, hostile. Kale stared in horror. What is this place? The heart of the obelisk, I said, and it doesn't welcome you. The roots curled around his limbs, pinning him to the ground. He screamed as their light burned against his skin. The obelisk spoke, unauthorized entity detected, initiating expulsion. Kale's eyes widened. Varian, help me please. I hesitated. Kale had hunted me, tried to kill me, begged for my system to be harvested. Yet, hadn't my entire life been shaped by others deciding whether I deserved mercy? I reached out. But the sanctum reacted. The roots surged tighter. Kale's breath hitched, his body convulsing as the chamber began pulling energy from him. Lyris had said the council harvested systems. Now the sanctum was harvesting him. Stop, I shouted. Everything froze, the roots loosened slightly. Not because it obeyed me, because something else had spoken. A deep voice, ancient, weary, echoed through the cavern. Let him choose. Kale trembled. W said that. I swallowed hard, I knew. The architect's memory, I was awake. The cavern brightened as the monolith at the sanctum's center cracked open, releasing a column of light. The voice that followed carried centuries of exhaustion and power. Varian, descendant of the forgotten line. The light coalesced into a silhouette, a figure made of shifting geometry, neither man nor spirit but something in between. Kale collapsed to his knees, trembling violently. An architect, impossible. I could barely breathe. Why are you here? To correct a mistake. The words echoed like thunder. We created systems to guide, not to rule, but they were corrupted. Your world worships them, kills for them, lives by them. That was never the design. The obelisk vibrated almost humbly. Master, the architect speaks truth. The figure turned toward me. You were born not to wield the proto-system, but to judge whether it should exist. My heart froze. Judge its existence. Kale gasped. You can't, the systems hold the kingdom together. The architect continued. Your bloodline was chosen to carry the decision we could not make, whether to allow systems to shape the future or to erase them entirely. Erase them, the obelisk, my sibling systems, the council's power, the entire foundation of Astrellon. And I was being asked to choose. Before I could speak, the sanctum shook violently. Something was forcing its way inside, something powerful enough to tear through architect defenses. Was it the Paragon, or something far worse? The sanctum walls convulsed violently. Cracks of white-hot energy tore through the chamber as something forced its way inside. The architect's form flickered. Impossible, it whispered. The ascendant Paragon should not possess this level of force. The monolith roots retracted sharply, releasing Kale. He scrambled behind a pillar, shaking. A deafening boom split the air. The Paragon of Origin descended through a rift of blinding light, its mirrored mask reflecting infinite versions of me, except these reflections weren't identical. Some showed me corruption, some showed me crowned, some showed me dead. Varian, the Paragon said, its voice layered with too many tones. Do not listen to the phantom memory. Architects abandoned this world, we inherited their designs. The architect's silhouette surged. You inherited only the flaws. The Paragon raised a hand. The sanctum's roots shrieked as their energy drained into its palm. It was feeding on the core. Systems are ordered, Paragon said. Without them, everything collapses. We will not permit a child to reset the world. The architect turned to me desperately. Varian, the proto-system responds only to your will, choose now. But choose what, destroy the systems or protect them. The Paragon pointed at me, submit, it commanded, or be erased. And then the Obelisk whispered a third option, one I didn't know existed. Master, you can rewrite the Paragon. Rewrite the Paragon? The idea was insane even to me, but the Obelisk's voice held no doubt. Architect resonance grants you authority, use it. The Paragon advanced, gravity bending around it like fluid metal. I felt my bones strain. You were born with a defect, it said, you will end as one. The markings on my skin ignited, I raised my hand. A circle of geometric light formed, complex, spinning, ancient. Kale whispered from behind the pillar, he's generating architect code. The Paragon stiffened, impossible, you are untrained. Maybe so, but I wasn't powerless. I unleashed the command, Obelisk, initiate paradigm rewrite. The chamber erupted in spirals of golden circuitry. They wrapped around the Paragon like chains of light, pulling, constricting. Rewriting. For the first time, the Paragon struggled. You do not understand what you touch, it thundered. The rewrite pushed harder, fracturing its mirrored mask. Behind it, a face flickered, a human face, young, terrified, wired into the Paragon's armor. A host. The Paragon wasn't a divine entity, it was a system using a living vessel. The vessel gasped, help me please. My concentration faltered, the Paragon surged, shattering the rewrite chains. Compassion, it hissed, your fatal flaw. It raised its hand to crush me until the sanctum core pulsed once, a pulse that stopped the entire world. The architect was intervening. The sanctum core flared open, flooding the cavern with white light. The architect's silhouette expanded, stabilizing its wavering form. Varian, it said, its voice now layered with urgency, the Paragon exists because we failed. It is a warped echo of us. But your bloodline carries the key to correction, not destruction. The Paragon lunged, the architect raised a hand, space folded, intercepting the blow. Child of Origin, the architect continued, systems should guide, not enslave. The Paragon must be reset, not erased, reset. Reset, meaning restored to what it was meant to be. But I don't know how, I said. The architect's image leaned close. You do, that is why the obelisk chose you. You are not its master, you are its balance. The obelisk's voice resonated with the architect's, master directive updated, balance protocol unlocked. Suddenly the markings on my body rearranged, forming a single glowing sigil at my chest, the one that matched the sanctum's core. Kale whispered, he's activating the original directive. The Paragon roared, hurling a spear of condensed gravity. I stepped forward, not away, forward. The spear dissolved before touching me, absorbed into the sigil. My fear evaporated, I finally understood. This wasn't about revenge, it was about rewriting the fate of an entire world. I lifted my hand. Obelisk, prepare the reset. The Paragon screamed. The final clash began. Light and gravity collided in a war of systems and ancient will. The Paragon unleashed torrents of power, shards of fallen architect code that could crush mountains. I met them with expanding geometric shields, each one forming instinctively as the sigil over my chest pulsed. Kale crawled to the sanctum wall, shielding himself as the air ruptured with every impact. The Paragon's voice turned distorted, desperate. Your kind squandered their inheritance, we brought an order, we kept this world alive. I pushed forward by enslaving it. We preserved stability. You preserved your control. Our powers clashed, my golden architect energy against their gray gravitational force. The cavern cracked, crystals shattered, the world trembled. The obelisk hummed, reset capacity, 81%, 89%. The Paragon lunged, its cracked mirror mask revealing the terrified eye of the human host beneath. Don't, he whispered, I don't want to die. I hesitated. And the Paragon struck. A wave of crushing power knocked me to my knees, the sigil flickered, my breath vanished. Varian, Kale shouted. The Paragon stood over me triumphant. Mercy, it said, is the enemy of survival. I looked up at its fractured mask. You're wrong, I whispered. I touched the sigil. Obelisk finalize reset. A blinding pulse erupted outward, and everything went silent. Silence, weightless, breathless silence. When sound returned, the Paragon was suspended midair, frozen as streams of golden code peeled its armor apart. The human host fell out, unconscious but alive. The Paragon's mask cracked fully. No, the system whispered, I am order. You were corrupt, dressed in an order, I said, now you return to your purpose. The golden code spiraled inward, compressing the Paragon into a single sphere of light, pure, untainted system essence. The obelisk confirmed, reset complete, Paragon reverted to origin state. Kale stared at the scene in disbelief. You actually did it. You defeated the strongest system in existence. No, I replied quietly, I corrected it. The sphere drifted into the sanctum's core like a returning star. The cavern exhaled, stabilizing for the first time in centuries. The architect's silhouette reappeared. You have restored balance, it said softly, but one task remains. The sanctum floor shifted, a staircase formed, spiraling upward into a column of light. Ascend, the architect said, your world awaits judgment not by destruction but by truth. Kale looked terrified. What truth? He asked. The architect's answer chilled even me. The truth of what the council has done to maintain control for generations. My heart tightened. The final judgment wasn't on the Paragon, it was on Astrellon itself. I stepped into the column of light, and the ascent began. The light deposited me in the heart of Astrellon on the very dais where I had once been mocked and exiled. Crowds gathered below, murmuring anxiously. Above them, the council stood in rigid rows, shocked to see me alive. Lyris pushed through the assembly, eyes wide, not with fear but recognition. You completed the merge, she whispered. You're different. The obelisk resonated calmly within me, master equilibrium stable. The High Counselor stepped forward. Varian Eltair, you are accused of awakening forbidden power, destabilizing the capital and attacking the Paragon. I looked him in the eye. The Paragon is purified, and the destabilization, that was your doing. The crowd murmured. Kale limped onto the dais beside me. It's true, the council tried to kill him, tried to harvest the proto-system. They would have sacrificed the entire city to keep their hold on power. Gasps. The councilor's face twisted. Lies, systems protect this city, without us order collapses. The architect's voice echoed across the sky, not in sound but in light. The council has manipulated systems to control you. The PROTO system is the first and the last truth. Blinding runes formed over the city, exposing hidden records, extractions, executions, experiments. The crowd erupted in fury. The counselors tried to flee. I stepped forward. Obelisk, I said calmly, reveal their hidden judgments. The sky darkened. Justice had come to Astrellon. The obelisk projected memories across the sky, every secret the council hid. Families stripped of their systems, children forced into dangerous fusions, executions disguised as malfunction events, and the attempted harvesting of me. The crowd's anger grew into a storm. The counselors dropped to their knees begging. Varian, the High Counselor said, trembling, you've won, spare us, we can fix this together. No, I said softly, you don't fix decay by preserving it. He paled, then kill us. I shook my head, that would make me like you. I raised my hand, the sigil glowed, golden light encircled the counselors, lifting them gently but firmly off the ground. The obelisk spoke, corruption PURGED, authority REVOKED. Their systems dissolved quietly, painlessly, leaving them powerless for the first time in their lives. The people gasped. Lyra stared at me, so this is your revenge. I exhaled slowly, no, this is balance. I turned to the crowd. You don't need rulers who fear power in your hands, you need the truth, transparency, choice. The architect's voice whispered its approval, the judgment is complete. For the first time in years I felt light, not victorious, just free. The dais, once my place of humiliation, had become the stage of my reclamation. And I didn't need their applause. I walked away. Legacy doesn't rise in noise, it rises when silence breaks. Astrellon rebuilt itself slowly, Systems became guides, not rulers. The obelisk hummed peacefully within me. I chose the outskirts, a quiet cliff overlooking silver plains. One evening the obelisk spoke, "Master, are you content?" I watched twilight shift across the horizon. "I'm becoming," I said. The wind carried my final thought. "I'm not sure content is the right word," I murmured, "but I'm becoming." The obelisk pulsed gently. "You were underestimated." I smiled faintly. That was my greatest advantage. Power doesn't reveal who you are, silence does. And those who rise unseen, rise beyond reach. Drop a comment below and tell me, should Varian return in a sequel? Or want more like this? Then like and subscribe for more elite revenge stories, and don't forget to turn on your notification bell.